Hello everyone! So if you remember on the intro, we said that Photoshop was originally created for photo editing, but with time, people discovered they could create their own illustrations and drawings from scratch using the tools Photoshop offered. So today, we're going to see those tools that Photoshop gives us to draw and paint, and we will be able to create our own stunning illustrations. First thing we're going to see on this blog is where to pick color. The most common place to grab color is here at the swatch palette. If you don't see it, go up to Window, Swatches. There you go. As you see, you have a wide variety of colors. You can pick the one you like. To know the color you are using, you must see down here these two little squares. The color that's in front, called the foreground color, is the one we are using. As you see, it changes as I click on different swatches. You can also click up here and adjust them as you wish. You can also go down here and make the same adjustments. As you see, as along I move on the palette, a little warning sign appears. What does this mean? This means that the color we have chosen is not a web-safe color. That means that some screens won't be able to reproduce them correctly, so I would recommend you to avoid those colors at any term. Finally, if there's a color on your drawing you want to pick, you must use the eyedropper tool. And as you see, you can grab any color that's on your drawing. And now that we know where to pick color, let's start drawing. The first tool we're going to see is the pen tool that activates by pressing P on your keyboard. A lot of people are afraid of this tool because it might seem a bit complicated at the beginning, but once you get it, you'll see it's really easy to use and that it offers a wide variety of possibilities. So let's create our first path. Create a starting point by clicking on your canvas. And then where you want your curve to go and drag. Now repeat. Okay, as you see here, I need to continue with a new curve. That means I have to break the one I did before. To do this, press Alt and on the anchor point. As you see, one of the two legs has disappeared. Now click and drag again. Now to close your path, you have to click on your starting point. Make sure that little circle appears. And there we have our first path. Now, what can we do with this path? Go to the Path panel. If you click here, we'll fill in with the foreground color. Here, you'll create a stroke all around the drawing. And here, we will transform it into selection. I'm going to choose this option so I can show you different options of coloring big surface. Okay, the first option we're going to see is the paint bucket tool. Let's grab a yellow color. And the only thing you have to do is click in and fill with color. Now the other option is go up to Edit, Fill, make sure foreground color is selected, and click OK. And now we have our selection colored. Now let's see how to use the gradient tool that's hidden under the paint bucket. If you go up here to the option bar, you see this menu appears with various presets Photoshop gives you. But you can also play around with your own values. You can move around, play with the distance, play with the opacity, and all you can imagine. And let's add a gradient to our little monster to add some volume. But first, we have to block transparent pixels so it only affects the silhouette and not the whole canvas. Another thing you must know is that here you have different shapes of applying the gradient. I'm going to go with a straight one. Now click and drag where you want your gradient to go. Try out different options until you get one you like. And here you go. We have a monster with a bit of volume. Okay, and now that we've seen how to use the gradient tool to add some volume or cool effects to your drawing, let's see the tool that's probably the most important on all Photoshop for an illustrator, which is the brush tool. Press B or go to the little brush icon. Go up here to the option bar and display this menu. As you see, Photoshop offers you a wide variety of preset brushes, but if you even need more than the ones you have, click on the little gear, way more sets. You can also load brushes you've bought online or you've downloaded. A good thing about brushes is that, like almost everything in Photoshop, you can custom them to your needs. So let's grab one of the basic brushes Photoshop gives us and let's try it out. This is the pre-established stroke the brush has. But you can change the opacity, for example, the size. It changes slightly. Now, another thing to know, especially if you're working with a tablet, is what does this little button do? As you see, we have it activated. This is pressure control. That means the more I press on my tablet, the thicker the line is going to be. And if I deactivate it, it doesn't matter how many pressure I apply, we'll get the same stroke width. I recommend you to have it activated because it gives you a more natural sense, like if you were working on a traditional media. But of course, that depends on what you're going to do with it. Now, let's keep changing aspects on our brush. Go up to Window and bring out the brush palette. This is the stroke we currently have. But for example, you can add some texture to your stroke. See? It changes completely. So play around with the brush options until you get the one you like. See, it changes completely. Now it has like a chalk sense to it. Adding texture always brings more interest to your compositions. So let's use this brush. We're going to use it to keep adding volume and interest to our drawing. I'm going to start shading, and when you shade, I would really recommend you to lower opacity. It helps you control better the shading and lighting, layer by layer. The last drawing tool we're going to see is the eraser tool. This tool works exactly as the brush tool, but instead of coloring pixels, what it does is turn them into transparent. So we've come to the end of this lesson of the Photoshop Basic series on TootPad. Hope you find it useful and see you on the next lesson.